Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. We just hit 37,000 subscribers, so make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to my channel. But before we get started, I'd like to tell you guys about my friends over at Lear Capital. We all knew the market had to correct at some point, right? But nobody could imagine what we're seeing today. COVID-19 is a human tragedy, and it's also an economic tragedy as the global economy is collapsing all around us. So how will the markets respond from this point forward? Many economists are predicting a third quarter recovery, but there's still so many unknowns that it's simply impossible to say. One thing is for sure though, you just can't flip a switch and expect everything to return to normal. But headlines are suggesting that the next upside is gold. If you want to make money in 2020, gold and silver are looking like a good bet, says Money Week, and that's why many Americans are making the decision to diversify into gold. Since 1997, Lear Capital has been America's top destination for gold, IRA, and precious metal sales. Mention this channel and receive a free silver coin with your first purchase. Call 800-819-2495 now. We will show you how easy it is to buy, sell, or trade your metals. Call 800-819-2495. That's 800-819-2495, or submit a request from the link in the description. Anyways, guys, today we have to talk about Katie Hill. Obviously, California's 25th was her district, and it flipped into the Republican column. Donald Trump had lost the seat by 7 points. They were going to say, oh, a Republican can never win this seat again. Well, apparently things changed this time around, and Republicans took advantage of the circumstances. They took advantage of the low energy on the Democrat side, and they cruised their way to a big 9-point victory over Katie Hill's successor, Christy Smith. Now, Katie Hill, Christy Smith, they're kind of like the same person. Obviously, Christy Smith had a much better track record. Mike Garcia was American hero. He's a Navy fighter pilot. And Katie Hill right now is saying, and she's putting the blame, as she always does, on everybody else except for herself. She's saying that the Republican Party flipping her old seat is no coincidence, and it's effing devastating. So obviously you have the left that's going to sit here and criticize Trump. Trump says this, Trump says that. You have people like Rashida Tlaib, you have people like Katie Hill on the left that just sit there and swear like sailors, and it's crazy, and they have the audacity to sit there and go at the president for talking out of line. It's a similar thing like what we saw today. We saw the president get attacked by Nancy Pelosi. She, by the left-wing term, body shamed him, called him morbidly obese, which I don't even think that's factually true, when, in fact, if Donald Trump called Pelosi an old hag or called Pelosi ugly, he would be forced to apologize. He would be forced to do this, that, and the other thing. So there's a big double standard, and the media, which we know leans left, basically runs that double standard. So if we take a good look at this article, it says former California Representative Katie Hill said she cried for days. She cried for days. These are supposedly adults here crying for days because Republicans flipped her old seat. And apparently she says that she takes responsibility for her actions, but I really don't think that's exactly true. The GOP win is quote-unquote no coincidence. Yes, Mike Garcia, the legendary Navy fighter pilot and very charismatic candidate running against weak Karen Christy Smith, successfully flipped California's 25th congressional district and became the first Republican in over 2 decades, actually 22 years almost, to flip a blue seat in California red. Of course, the left is going to say, oh, but Republicans held the seat for so long. That doesn't exactly mean anything. Again, Democrats held some of these southern states like Alabama and Mississippi's governorships from like 1880 to 2005 or something like that. And when it flipped back, it's going to be very difficult for a Democrat to win in those places, especially a Democrat that's in line with their party ideology. But that's a little beside the point. Let's get back on track to the article here. Katie Hill, the hashtag Me3 Democrat, because she was involved in a throuple at the time. So they said Me3, and that's kind of funny, who stepped down from her seat last year after an explosion of scandal, reacted to the loss of what was once her blue district, calling it pretty effing devastating, and admitting that she went offline and cried for a few days. So again, these are the adults. These are the leaders of the left, man-children that are basically crying because things didn't go their way. And if people want to know what her scandal was, she was involved with a staffer. She had photos leaked that she took of herself doing sexual things with her staffers. They were involved in some sort of throuple type of relationship. It was kind of crazy stuff, and definitely out of line from what you would expect from a traditional politician. However, Hill also expressed the view that the GOP win was no coincidence. She said, okay, I think that everything here is in her tweet, so we can read the tweet. So yeah, it really hurt to have my old seat flip back to Republican for a ton of people, and also for me. Apparently not for her district, who voted en masse against Christy Smith. In fact, it was pretty effing devastating. I went offline and cried for a few days, but as always, getting ready to stand back up and keep fighting. Don't exactly know how she's going to fight after her career has been ruined by her own incompetency. But apparently, she says, let's be clear, my ex gave non-consensual nude pics of me, which again is a big fallacy because they were not non-consensual, because she took the photos were taken. She was well aware that the photos were taken. So they were not non-consensual pictures. And she says people who were backing Garcia, he gave it... Okay, that's a conspiracy theory. There's no exact proof of that at the moment. They gave the pictures to the press. The pictures were leaked somehow to the press. But the bottom line here is she's blaming everybody else except for herself. She was the one who had an inappropriate relationship with her staffer. And if a man did what Katie Hill did, he would not be allowed on the face of the planet anymore, if we're going to be honest with each other. So she resigned, and she blamed everybody else, and she's still blaming everybody else, saying that this is why the Republican won. It's because the other people, it's because they framed me. They didn't frame her. This is exactly what went down. The people knew about it, and they decided to vote against her successor. So I don't understand what responsibility she's taken, because all this time she's been blaming other people. And now she's basically saying that, I'm so upset my seat is gone. They conspired against me. She knew what she was getting into. If she didn't want this to happen, she'd still be in her seat and she wouldn't have had an inappropriate affair with her staffer. But that's not what happened. And she's still continuing almost a year later to play the victim. It's absolutely insane. And as it says here in the article, Hill resigned after allegations of inappropriate sexual relationships with members of her congressional staff, including a female staffer, surfaced. As her last act, Hill voted in favor of the resolution to impeach President Trump on behalf of the women of the United States of America. So basically, you can see a lot of this anger is seethed in this third wave, fourth wave feminist ideology that she represents. And by the way, this is what happened in 2018, is it was the year of the Karen. You had all these Karen-type individuals take, relatively moderate seats that were held for a long period of time by the Republican Party, and a lot of them are going to flip back because we're sick of the nonsense, and you can see that with the big energy boost for the Republicans in California's 25th congressional district. So again, she's still blaming everybody. In the rest of the article, she mentions biphobia was a reason why she decided to depart for Congress. Again, blaming everybody except for herself. I don't think anybody really cared that she was having a sexual relationship with a woman staffer. I think that they were basically saying that she had a relationship with a staffer, and that was very, very inappropriate. It doesn't exactly matter if she's straight, lesbian, bisexual. I think that's completely out of line. And basically the rest of the article goes on and it congratulates Garcia on his epic victory. So again, you have the left, and you know what the left does. They like to basically, it's like they're playing chess and they shit all over the board and they blame you for what happened. It's just complete nonsense, and they're doing it again. She's not taking responsibility. She's claiming she's taking responsibility. She's not, and this is symptomatic of the way the left acts on a larger scale. And this is exactly why the Democrats are going to struggle in 2020. This is why the Democrats are going to struggle in some of these House districts, because it's not just Katie Hill. Obviously, if you look at Katie Hill's successor, Christy Smith, she was doing a lot of the sex baiting early on. She had her pronouns in her bio. She was doing all of these crazy things, and that turns people off. That turns voters off. Calling out Cenk for being sexist or whatever, Cenk Uygur, the water buffalo himself, back in the early stages of the campaign, where I actually had to come out and defend Cenk because she was acting like a total ridiculous moron. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. And it's sad to see, but it's just the way it is. And it's why the Democrats are going to struggle, because this nonsense victim mentality type nonsense, as well as the blame game, blame everybody else, no personal responsibility taken, that's not going to be a winning strategy for the Democrats in 2020 and beyond, and we'll have to see what happens in the House, but I congratulate Mike Garcia on his victory. I promise this will be the last video that I do on California's 25th special election, most likely. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. And even if you are subscribed, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media, join the Discord, join the subreddit, donate to the Patreon or subscribe, star links in description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.